And I can't find a seconder usually when I propose, but I don't care. I don't need a seconder. My own opinion is enough for me, and I claim the right to have it defended against any consensus, any majority, anywhere, any place, any time. And anyone who disagrees with this can pick a number, get online, and kiss my ass.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. I'm Harry Steele, Backwoods Southern lawyer. Got my partners in crime with me today. How you doing, Mr. Rip?
I'm still trying to recover from last night, but I think I got it out of my system for months to come.
And Mr. Russian, did you survive Houston New Year's?
I did. Thank God we had everybody celebrating 7:46 p.m. about the time dusk fell last night, and they lit off all their fireworks at once. It seemed like, but it was like being back in Basra. It was something else. And yeah, I survived it. Stayed home. Ended up in bed about 12:30 into the new year.
You got some greens on?
No, I didn't cook today.
Black eyed peas?
I don't cotton with all that mess. I really not a big fan of the traditional New Year's Day meal. I've never been a big fan of it. I've always just eaten it because it's there. But to be honest, I'm not a big fan, and I'm grown now. So we having pizza on New Year's Day, and by God,
for me,
because I can, because I can.
I had some vegetable soup and cornbread, and it was about the only thing that brought me back to life.
I talked to a good friend of mine that didn't stop partying till 4:30 this morning. They was doing just like I do out in their garage. And she said the only thing, she woke up at noon, still drunk. I said, "Are you feeling better?" She goes, "Yeah, I drank a Greyhound and ate half a jar of pickled okra. I'm feeling better already." I had to go take Tums. Just
she's still drunk if you ate that.
Yeah. I had to go take a roll of Tums just from reading that text.
So we got a little breaking news. Expect, as you said, the Senate vetoes override of Trump's veto of the defense bill.
Yeah, everybody had to see that coming. Just about everybody in Washington knew that was going to happen. That's one of those. The defense appropriations bill is not something that you ever maneuver with. That's you mess with that bill and soldiers don't get paid, you got a real problem. Not just politically, but you got to pay your people. And
the $740 billion National Defense Authorization Act, it removes Trump's ability to call soldiers back from certain theaters. I believe that's NATO countries. Why in the hell would we abandon trillions of dollars worth of bases that we've built in Germany and other places in Europe? And of course, my favorite is it removes the names of all the Confederates from the different bases, and it's what we were there 9 Hood,
yes,
so forth,
AP Hill, Hood, Bragg. There's a bunch of them.
All right, let's talk coronavirus numbers.
20
cases,
million.
80.
We hit 20 million this morning.
83,718,625 global cases with 1.8 million deaths. And you're right, this is dated. We hit 20 million cases in the U.S. this morning with 346, we'll just say 350,000 deaths. It will be by the time this podcast is over with. Baldwin County cases, Paul, you were saying we saw a spike, 209 new cases this week, it looks like.
Right.
And
give it another week, and we're probably going to have another spike after New Year's and Christmas and all of this.
Yeah, the Christmas spike. The Christmas spike isn't registering yet, but it will.
Right. That's bound to happen.
And Alabama has 361,000 confirmed cases with just under 5,000 deaths for our part. And that's where you can get our information. We're still waiting for Richard Shelby to die. There was an article this week that contemplates when Frankenstein is going to get the coronavirus, because how old is this guy? 88.
Yep.
So he's on several influential Senate committees, and tons of this money is coming.
Appropriations bill.
You better believe it. Not just the defense authorization, but also the coronavirus stimulus package, the omnibus bill.
Right.
Is sending a lot of money our way. So anyway, be careful what you wish for, getting some new blood in there, because they're going to start off on the bottom rung.
That's right. That's right. One thing you can say about him is that he criticized everybody else for taking home the bacon, and he was the best at it.
Good Lord. So, Raines, AstraZeneca got approval and started giving immunizations in the UK this week.
That's right. It's AstraZeneca. You'll notice if you've paid any attention to what the two bigs, Pfizer and Moderna, both of those, scientifically speaking, are RNA type vaccines, which means they get in there and bind with the ribonucleic acids in the viral cells. The AstraZeneca is more of an immune booster. It's a carpet bomb compared to a precision strike, I guess you could say. Its efficacy is not up there yet. We don't know how effective it is. We just know it's better than nothing, and that's why they got their emergency authorization in Great Britain. So it's going out in Great Britain because Great Britain's seen such a surge that they're pretty much going to rubber stamp just about anything that they've proved can help slow it. So it's out there. I'm glad it's out there. The biggest difference it has with the two vaccines that we're working with here in the United States is, as you see there, that you can store it at a regular cold temperature. A regular refrigerator will keep it stable, where the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines both have to be held in sub-zero degree temperatures, right, which creates a bit of a logistic problem with distribution. So, I'm happy that AstraZeneca's got something out there. That Sputnik 5, I haven't seen anything bad about it. I just know that the results, I'm not going to believe the results that the Russian government puts out. And Gamaleya is not a worldwide vaccine distributor. So, don't hold your breath on Mother Russia. Let's just wait. Our RNA, which are proven virus killers, they're coming.
Well, Russia's got the poisons down, though.
They have since the 1950s.
Right.
So we got a new strain of coronavirus rolling around out there, and it was first, I guess, discovered in the UK, but they don't think it began there. Colorado has had a case, and now a Florida man is found with that variant.
That's right. This the newer,
scarier because why, Raines?
Because it has a higher transmission rate, about a 10% higher transmission rate, and affects a broader spectrum of age with severe symptoms. Whereas before, one thing you heard a lot in the right-wing propaganda was that, well, kids won't get it, and if they do, they're not going to get sick because they have such strong immune systems. Well, this particular variant does affect people under the age of 25 with severe symptoms, unlike the present COVID-19 does. So it's more dangerous. But hopefully, and I'm almost positive on this, you know what, I'm not going to say it since I'm not 100% positive on it. I'm leaning towards that the recombinant mRNA that we have right now will be effective against this virus, meaning that the vaccination stuff that we have will also cover it for this variant. I believe that'll be the case.
But nobody knows.
Well, there've been it's brand new. I mean, it took us 4 months to really crack COVID, and that's with the CDC working 24/7 on it. So it'll probably take another 30 days, 60 days before we nail down the newest variant.
So
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Great Britain does on its circulation. And the Biden administration is saying that they're going to shoot for or get it up to 1 million, 1 million cases a day, 1 million shots a day.
Well, that's possible, Paul. But I think one thing people fail to realize about Great Britain is they have a national hospital service.
That's right.
Which is a federalized. It's not a socialized thing. I mean, it is, but we're not going to get into that argument. But they have a federalized hospital system, not just a Department of Health. They have federalized hospitals, a network, a health network throughout the entire country.
Right.
Not just a bureaucracy that says we can help do this. They actually have the brick and mortar facilities to deliver health solutions across their country. So yes, their stuff's going to get out much quicker because their brick and mortar infrastructure is in place. Ours has to be negotiated with private health
Taiwanese. Yeah.
Well, we're the only nation in the Western Hemisphere, I believe, that doesn't have some sort of socialized medicine.
So let's talk about Alabama's rollout. So we vaccinated 10,000 people this week, Paul.
Wow.
You know what the problem with that is?
What?
If we keep that pace up, it only takes 16 years to vaccinate all. What is it? 4.9 million people.
Yeah, and they have to have a second shot too.
Yes, it will not be effective unless you get the second treatment. That's correct.
Right. And then I'm hearing that there's even like a 30-day window after that before it really locks itself into your system.
Yes, that's one thing that we should make very clear to everyone is no matter when you get the vaccination, that doesn't mean all your problems are solved. You should still be wearing a mask. You should still be social distancing. You should still be avoiding crowded places as much as humanly possible. The vaccine is going to help decrease the people that die from this disease. It's not going to decrease the number of people that get it, not in the short term. That's a long-term goal. We're talking months and months and months from now.
And the herd immunity is not going to kick in to about 75%.
Correct.
So the governor appointed a gaming task force, and they came back and said, there are any number of things you can do, Governor. And if you do these things, it'll create $700 million in tax revenue.
You know what that accomplished?
It delayed things for 2 years is what it did.
Nah, all it did was tell Bally, Caesars, all the different gaming companies in the United States that the price tag to keep gaming out of Alabama is $700 million.
Yep.
Ding, ding.
And we're totally surrounded. Every state around us has some sort of either gaming or lottery. Or
the
both.
Isle of Capri Casino in 1997 made $27 million a month in 1997 in Biloxi, Mississippi. So tell me that somebody getting together and writing $700 million worth of checks to people in Alabama is not going to keep gaming out of Alabama. They just put a price tag on it, sports fans.
So 27 million a month, Raines?
A month.
My God.
So did you see that Governor Bentley tweeted a photograph of himself getting the coronavirus vaccine? And people shit.
Was
it was a huge backlash.
Who gave it to him, Rebecca?
I guess so, or maybe our current attorney general who owes his job to the man. Of course, he had to agree not to prosecute him.
Right.
That's
right. Yeah. So I thought we'd throw that in there where we're talking about Alabama stuff. So tucked inside the COVID-19 relief bill is
amongst
about and copyright laws. Yeah, well, there's all kinds of things we could take issue with, but in particular, something that nobody else is talking about. And it creates a copyright claims board. The CASE Act established a copyright claims board as an alternative forum in which parties may voluntarily resolve small claims of copyright infringement. Whew. Anyway, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, this should be on your radar.
I tell you, you guys ever play that game, Two Truths and a Lie, where you tell somebody, all right, I'm going to say 3 things and 2 of them are truths and 1 of them's a lie, and you got to figure out which one's which, right?
Yeah.
I used to do that a lot.
Every woman I ever dated.
Yeah, and one of the things I said was I once, and we're old enough to remember this. Most kids probably don't. People under the age of 30 aren't going to remember it. I once I requested and received the written and expressed consent of the National Football League to record and replay a Monday Night Football game for my home use. Because there used to be a disclaimer they read at the beginning of Monday Night Football. I remember Al Michaels would read it, or whoever would read it, Dan Deerdorf, whoever, and they would say, without express written recording of this program is prohibited without express written consent of the National Football League, et cetera, et cetera. There was a copyright disclaimer. And I want to say, I wonder what would happen if I asked. And so I wrote and asked for permission from the NFL to record a Monday Night Football game. And I recorded it. And a few weeks later, I got a letter back from the NFL that says, you have our express written consent to record it and view it for your personal use, not for commercial use. And I used to have it in a frame in my office. It got lost with Katrina with all the other cool shit like that I had. But
That's pretty cool.
what this piracy law says is that if you illegally stream content, it's not recording and showing something. What this is a bill that comes from a mother of all people, Dana White. He's the backbone behind this. What people are doing is they are, if you have a pay-per-view event, they are putting up a camera, much like we use, and showing their screen and streaming it on YouTube, or they're streaming it on Twitch, or they're streaming it on Discord, so that people don't have to pay the fee and their friends can watch it and things like that. Or they're charging you 50 cents. PayPal me 50 cents and I'll give you the YouTube address for we're watching the latest UFC fight. That's what this is aimed at. This is not aimed at people that, DVR their stuff or use YouTube to record their stuff, YouTube TV. That's not what this is about. This is about people that stream copyrighted content. You don't want that. And I'm all right with it. I'm okay with it.
Okay,
and I think there are copyrights claim. As a writer, I'm a strong believer in copyright.
Well, there's some things that people put up and then it becomes open source, and that I can do a clinic on that one day if you guys want to record that. I don't want to say this guy's name, but there was an explosion on Christmas morning in downtown Nashville. It wasn't a damn pressure cooker, was it, Raines? I mean, that dude built a freaking bomb. It blew these buildings, blew the facades off.
I'm waiting to see the chemical analysis of this, because apparently he's been working on this thing for a couple of years.
And it turns out,
and it was reported
right,
to the police and to the FBI that he was building bombs in his motorhome, and the police's response was they had no authority to go look. Give me a friggin' break. Are you serious?
Well,
the Branch Davidian compound being the exception. I mean, what are you talking about? They don't have the authority to go on private property to look for explosives.
That's what I mean. That's just the most bizarre thing I ever heard.
You take the information to a federal magistrate and you get the ATF out there.
Well, I believe the subtext of that story is that the woman that reported it was a girlfriend of his, and they had been fighting. And in the police report, it noted that she was mentally unstable and had been referred for psychiatric review. And that's why the report, that was the only report that they had received, that he was making bombs, and that's why it wasn't investigated. So I can see how that would slip through the cracks. But it was a tragic event. It was a terrible thing. I think we're all fortunate that more people were not hurt. and or outright killed by this. That's some pretty dark dystopian shit. I mean, that report, reading it and watching it unfold, I was just, good grief, it's like a TV episode or something. Right. It was just so dark and terrible. And playing Downtown by Petula Clark. Good grief, man. How dark. And
she came out with a statement too, Petula Clark did.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you got to.
I think the moral of the story here is that 25% of the country was without internet access for some period of time until they rerouted traffic.
Well, they said that's why he did it, was because he was worried about the 5G implications.
Yeah, and that's something we need to talk about.
One of those 5G conspiracies.
These nutty ass conspiracies that people who have mental health problems latch onto and become obsessed with.
Well,
and
you remember the 2000.
About that.
You remember the 2000 thing?
Yep.
Y2K?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Hey, so real quick, have y'all watched the series that I think it's on CNN, the 1970s, the 1980s?
Yeah, I watched them all.
So anyway, I watched this. I remember the 80s vividly, but I watched the one on the 70s, and I was shocked at how many bombings there were back then.
Oh, good grief.
Dustin Hoffman got blown out of his damn brownstone in Manhattan because the house next door blew up. They were making bombs in the basement.
Yeah, 70s was pretty crazy.
Things.
Well, the craziest year I remember is 68 until 2020. 2020 takes the cake.
I don't know if you were growing up in London in '83. That was the year that the IRA declared complete war on Great Britain, and
right.
They had about eight pub bombings in 6 months there. That was a pretty dicey time to be both in Belfast and London.
No doubt. So, Senator Phil Williams has decided he's going to form a conservative policy caucus to vote as a bloc in the Alabama legislature.
I thought the Alabama legislature was a conservative policy caucus.
Essentially,
this is a block within the block.
Democrats that may still be around.
Well, this is a block within a block.
And my favorite story of the week, the Pope liking this young lady's Instagram post was good for business. You think he was trying to delete it and inadvertently liked it?
I don't know. I don't think the Pope uses Instagram. I think it was whatever young theocratic scholar was working as the Pope's online presence director for that week, and maybe got a little froggy. But I'm going to tell you, if there's anything that the last 10 years has taught us, is all the Catholic Church has got to do is touch something and it makes the news.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're
gonna get an email,
clever, my friend.
Yeah, but those independent sites, a lot of what happens a lot of time on Facebook is they'll come up, and if you don't scan it, you don't really know what you're clicking onto. And I see a lot of them come up over and over again. So they must just send them out like spam mail, So
that's what I used to tell my wife when she would find it on the computer. I'd say, "Oh, it's probably just something I clicked, on off."
Right. The Pope might have been looking at the real cute puppy and just hit the wrong button.
Looking at the stock market report, and it just was on the side of it there.
So, Raines, give us the breakdown of the January 5th runoff in Georgia.
That is going to be a landslide for the Democrats. Ossoff and Warnock are going to sweep. The early voting has been massive and tremendous. It's almost a lock. And it's because of something that we talked about before the election, is that if you're voting for a senator after a presidential election, it pretty much decides it as based on who got to be president. The Republicans aren't going to turn out because A, they realize it's a lost cause. B, some of the idiots actually believe that there's voter fraud out there on such a massive scale that their votes won't count. This is going to be an absolute landslide for these two Democratic candidates, and it's going to flip the Senate. So
Okay, well, if I lived in Georgia, I would be concerned about voting for Warnock because of his statements that universal health care is a human right.
Lord of mercy, here we go.
Now that's a stretch.
Yeah, well, we're the only country in the Western Hemisphere without any socialized medicine programs, Harry. The only country. So everybody else is wrong except us?
It's happened before, Paul.
Okay, all right. But another thing on that Senate race is the enormity of the money that has come in for the candidates is just completely, totally mind-boggling. I mean, you know, it's disgusting in a way that we can't figure out a better way of doing this rather than just pouring money in a hole, you know?
Right.
But we haven't.
Good for the TV stations.
What?
I said it's good for the TV stations.
Yep.
So there's going to be an electoral college challenge.
Guys, let me break this down for everybody real quick. Every election, there is an electoral college challenge. Every election that we've had since 1960, there has been an electoral college challenge by members of the opposing party. It happens every time. It's procedural. This is not going to overturn the election. No matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, the worst case scenario is they've got to sit and debate for 2 hours, and they'll just sit and watch the clock. That's literally it. Barbara Boxer did it, Dianne Feinstein did it against Bush. It's every single presidential election we have this. Now, we don't have 140 of them, but it doesn't matter. 1 or 140, it doesn't matter. All it takes is one.
We don't have some unhinged guy in office tweeting, telling everybody to come to D.C. January 6th. That would be the first time that something like this has happened.
But it doesn't matter. They can rally. They can do whatever they want. The Constitution is very clear on the electoral process.
Right. It's not going to change one damn thing. The only thing it is going to do is identify those individuals that are partaking in it.
So Gus Malzahn was fired. He had a $49 million contract he signed in 2017, guaranteeing him 75%. They've hired Brian Harrison as head coach. Do you know about Brian?
I know he's the Bluefield coach. He was at Boise State for
Turf.
Yeah.
And 7 wide receivers, 2 offensive linemen, and a quarterback. That's how they play out there.
No, Boise's Division I, man. Come on.
So let's talk about
football.
Let's talk about some things that didn't happen last night. So Mobile had a virtual moon pie drop. Fairhope canceled everything. They've had a tremendous backlash.
It sounds like Fairhope finally got the message that lighting of the trees and accumulating people in public was not that cool an idea.
And just one more time, the thug tree from Mobile County.
Good God. Good grief. I gotta tell you that one thing you guys are talking about canceling a lot. We just had announced that the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is basically the World's Fair in Houston once a year, has been moved tentatively to May. And at this point, I've got an insider with the Livestock Show and Rodeo, and they are looking at an indefinite postponement that we're probably not going to have it again this year. So even in May, we're looking at not having gatherings. New Orleans is not doing Mardi Gras again. Mobile's not doing Mardi Gras. I'm really hoping that people are starting to get the message.
I think they are. We're at what, 340-something thousand now?
Yeah, and I think Metairie, Louisiana, and places like that are going to have Mardi Gras. Just hide and watch.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, they'll be small ones, sure.
So everybody remembers us talking about the Just Mercy case several times.
Right.
Podcast.
Go watch it if you hadn't.
So this week, the Mobile and Baldwin County Bar Associations presented the Howell T. Heflin Honor and Integrity Award to Justice Lynn Stewart in December. The annual award recognizes an Alabama judge or attorney who has brought honor and integrity to the legal profession during his or her years of service to the citizens of Mobile and Baldwin counties. Justice Stewart served as Alabama Assistant Attorney General, Baldwin County Assistant District Attorney, Baldwin County District Judge and Juvenile Court Judge, Circuit Court Judge, Associate Justice on the Alabama Supreme Court, and Chief Justice on the Alabama Supreme Court. And Atmore native Justice Stewart resides in Bay Minette.
You think she asked the board if they were vetted and made sure none of them had side pieces before she got the award?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I would encourage people to go read the Edgar Allan Poe true crime award-winning novel, Circumstantial Evidence, about the case, and you will read some things in here that might discourage you about her receiving that award.
And if you read that particular part, you'll understand my girlfriend joke.
It's a political vanity award. And also, where is she now, Harry?
Let's see.
Alabama Ethics?
She's right here. She's on my little ethics commission sheet.
Right.
She's she's one of the 5 members of the Alabama Ethics Commission.
This is the same ethics commission that doesn't investigate anything. Nothing. Don't even know what they do, except insulate the ones that are guilty from being prosecuted and giving them immunity from it.
All right, so let's talk about the biggest story that no one is talking about. The U.S. government agencies were hacked. Orion is a network management product from a company named SolarWinds with over 300,000 customers worldwide. Sometime before March, hackers working for the Russian SVR, previously known as the KGB, hacked into SolarWinds and slipped a backdoor into Orion Software's update. So they've had a backdoor into all of these different governmental agencies, Treasury Department, Homeland Security, Los Alamos, and Raines, just think about this. How many years do you think it would take for a foreign government to confirm our national stockpile inventory of, let's just say, conventional weapons?
Oh, it wouldn't take them. I understand what you're trying to illustrate, but I think you're using the wrong analogy. How it would take a foreign government much, much, much longer to identify the internal phone numbers of every single telephone on every single military base in the U.S. Department of Defense. It would take them decades to do that 10 years ago. Now, with this hack, they can do it in an instant, which means they can make a phone call to every single telephone connected to the digital telephone base of the Department of Defense. Can you imagine the uproar it would cause if every single phone in the Department of Defense rang at the same time, and when everybody picked it up, it was a recorded message that said anything?
Right.
Do you know how apocalyptic Dr. Strangelove bullshit that would be?
It surprises me that the media is not all over this again and again, but I don't know. It just didn't get much wind.
I see what you did there. But it's the reason I think it didn't get a lot of wind is because there have been so many stories about hacks this year.
Right.
It just kind of slid by everybody. Oh, it's just another hack. This is the biggest hack I've ever heard of in history.
The biggest hack anybody's ever heard of.
This is the movie War Games times 5,000. It's one thing to hack the Pentagon. All right, just about anybody with a 8 gig RAM and knows how to code can hack the Pentagon. All right, you might get in trouble doing it, but it can be done. To hack the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, the Department of the Navy, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Health and Human Services, all at one time, and be able to integrate all of that information using a single program? My God, man.
That is unreal.
Brilliant.
It really is.
Think of it.
It's really is.
And of
Cyber
course,
warfare.
you know, they think that they used a similar program in Ukraine to shut down their power grid.
No. That's not correct. The power grid hack in the Ukraine was a dedicated attack where a hack is just when you get into something. An attack is what you do once you're in. And the
Maybe
Ukraine,
you don't understand what I said. I said they used a similar software program.
no, they didn't. It was a dedicated attack. Somebody hacked into that system and committed those acts.
Okay, well, go read Wikipedia because you're
All right.
arguing with Wikipedia. So talking about hacking our democracy, Trump pardons 50 some odd. The most egregious to me are Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, Charles Kushner.
The most egregious to me were the Blackwater dickheads
Blackwater.
shot up those poor fools in Iraq. Those guys are goddamn murderers. I
Right.
can give a shit about Roger Stone and Charles
Well, they're
Kushner.
literal murderers. Yeah,
These
that's-
literal murderers got pardoned. Pardons happen every time a president goes out of office. They're a part of it. I understand that. People are
Right.
going to catch a slide. Okay, but those were murderers that are back on the streets of America free because of Donald John Trump. I want y'all to know that. So next time, 20 years from now, when you think I forgot about any of this shit, let that remind you.
And those guys, I forget how many rounds were fired, but they knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing when they opened up like that. And Kushner's, this is Kushner's father. You know, the details on one of the things that he was found guilty on was the fact that he was trying to set up his
brother-in-law.
brother-in-law with a prostitute.
Right.
And I mean, just you talk about sleazy. Now, McAfee in Belize tried to do the same thing with a lawyer out of, I think it was Arizona, that was following a wrongful death award of several $1 million. And that's what McAfee wanted to do. And some of the locals that he approached to do it with just said, no, we're not doing that.
So Nicholas Slanton, Paul Slew, Evan Liberty, and Dustin Hurd were the four men who were contractors working for the U.S. State Department in 2007 when they opened fire on unarmed civilians in a crowded square in Baghdad, the Iraqi capital. They killed 14 civilians, including 2 children. One was just 9 years old. The massacre led to lengthy prison sentences. Did you guys know Blagojevich got...
Rod Blagojevich.
There you go.
Rod Blagojevich, yeah, the former governor of Illinois.
Yeah, but remember when he got out of jail, what TV show was he on?
Oh, shit.
Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah. He was pardoned as well, huh?
No, Rod Blagojevich was. Did I lose y'all? Nope.
No.
Rod Blagojevich was. I don't think he was pardoned. I think he just got out of jail.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought I missed that. Okay, good deal.
So, do you know the difference in having your sentence commuted and getting a pardon?
I do.
Good. So, I just wanted to talk briefly. There are several pre-filed bills for the 2021 Alabama legislative session. We're going to talk to you about those next time. We don't have time to cover it all. Paul, I'm going to let you cover this under the Lagniappe in the RIP report.
Well, Lagniappe this week was a little thin, being Christmas and everything, but one of the stories, of course, is Paul Welch was killed in a single car accident. He was chief of staff, and he really had quite a reputation as being a good negotiator and very bright. So I know that that's a big loss to the community. Other things in Lagniappe they go into Insidious Disease, that's written by Gabe Times, and it's talking about addiction and opioids. We're going to be getting back into talking about opioids again later in the medical marijuana bill. But I don't think people understand just the effects of what some of these opioids do and how easily it can sneak up on you, because when you are taking opioids for pain and it's working, well, you don't realize that you're getting addicted to it. But you don't have the pain. So if you have something consistent like that, before you know it, you're hooked on it. Sometimes you don't have the pain anymore, but then you still keep taking the opioids. So I don't know, a lot of the opioid companies have been held responsible for what they did in flooding the market, but the damage being done is not dollars, it's in human lives.
I do have to say, I think Purdue Pharmaceutical is paying the iron price for that, and I'm glad to see it.
Right. And Ill Repute, another article by Gabe Times, affidavit sheds light on alleged Tillman's Corner drug operation. And this is something that's been going on quite a while. They picked up like 39 different people, and they dubbed them the Costly Hills Drug Trafficking Organization. And it all started by them looking into human trafficking, and the human trafficking led them into the drug thing. But it's a very interesting article. The rest of Lagniappe, it goes through quite a few more articles that on what's going on right now. I would bet you that Lagniappe next week is going to be full of the new stuff coming out. Hopefully, we're going to try and talk to Lagniappe about getting a little bit better coverage on their magazine, since it is the #1 source that we go to in Baldwin County. So we'll see how that works out. Other than that, Fairhope doesn't even have a council meeting until the 11th of January. So about halfway through January, or January 20th, when the new president is sworn in, maybe everything can get back to being a little bit more normal on the political front, and we can get a handle on the COVID situation. And I'm hoping that by September, that possibly the U.S. has got a handle on the COVID thing, and people can start getting back to some type of normalcy. But what Rames was saying is true too. Just because you go get the shot and everything, it would be extremely prudent to keep wearing that mask until 75% of the people are vaccinated.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's about it for me, Harry.
Well, Brexit has happened. Not that matters to people over here too much, but there are going to be some changes to import-export laws in and out of Great Britain with their biggest trading partner, the EU, now that they're no longer a member of.
Right. And one of the holdups on that, believe it or not, was fishing rights.
That's right.
Range, you missed this one. While everybody was out for Thanksgiving, Lee County Judge Jacob Walker filed an afternoon ruling reducing Hubbard's sentence from 48 months to 28 months.
Who wants to bet me $1,000 right now that he will not serve the 28 months?
He'll do a Lori Laughlin, serve 2 days.
He'll do something. I'm telling you, man, this is the damnedest thing I've ever seen. And that's the only case that, high profile case that the Ethics Commission processed. Yep. And it's Speaker of the House, and they reduce the sentence.
So when you're the former lieutenant governor and the most powerful lobbyist in the state of Alabama, who happens to be married to the presiding judge of the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals, people tend not to run articles about how you have a secret no-bid contract to provide computer services to the Alabama Administrative Office of Courts. So I thought we'd do our part and keep talking about this until there's some kind of an investigation.
Right. And how many millions are we
Just
talking
like the
about?
McSherry case.
Millions.
Oh, you're talking about, well, they're estimated. See, they won't tell them, they won't disclose how much money they've actually gleaned from the contract, because what happens is when you go into Alipay and you pay through this Alifile or Alipay by Alicourt, they get to keep a percentage of it, and then they pass a percentage on to the state. So the state would not be the ones to tell us how much they withheld. That would be proper for Alicourt to tell us that.
Another one of those cushy little deals.
Truly.
Well, supposedly $100 million is what we've paid for this software program. And on top of that, every lawyer in Alabama has Alicourt and pays about $250 a month for it. I mean, if they're making that kind of bread, they can make it free to all the practitioners.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't hold your breath.
So do you think Bowen County will be the same in 2021, Paul? Do you think we'll see anything clean up?
No.
County
I don't
commissioner grow a pair?
I'll hold my breath on that one.
I don't see any change of the filings with the Ethics Commission and the Attorney General that we've done. Well, the one with the Attorney General, we didn't even get a response. And then the Ethics Commission sends out their form letter, which is one paragraph stating that they couldn't find their ass with two hands. But we're just going to keep at it, keep exposing it, and get a little bit more detail on each one of these things. You know, that's the thing that gets me is that Lagniappe has been responsible, and I'll give a shout out to Gabe Times on this, on some very, very good articles. I'm talking about like the Straw Man series and stuff like that, that outlines the corruption.
Battery Housing Authority.
Yeah, and like the Paula Denardi case, the McSherry case, and it's completely outlined. It's in the paper. No one seems to be at least bit interested in investigating any of these things.
Especially the district attorney nor the attorney general of the state of Alabama.
Right. Forget that.
So last time I encouraged everybody to check this show out, and some good wholesome family fun, no foul language, none of that kind of stuff. And then you can go over to Amazon and just watch something that's really hilarious and trashy and
Wayne.
right up. I knew when I saw it, I was like, I bet Raines has already seen this.
It's a great show.
I haven't. I'll have to check it out.
All right. Well, we've reached the end of the road today, so to speak. I certainly appreciate everybody's time. Anything? I do have one more thing that popped up on my Twitter. Some fella got stabbed in the neck in Bay Minette Walmart while we've been on the air.
Huh.
Some kind of fight or something. Anyway, I'm glad I don't live there anymore.
You abandoned that place.
Yeah, well, it kind of abandoned me.
I got to tell you, I got my hats off to you for having at least the space behind you decorated. I've still got boxes I hadn't unpacked in my garage, and shit, I moved in here 8 years ago.
Well, this is a haphazard. It's just I just kind of started hanging stuff on the wall.
Like, don't turn the camera around kind of scenario.
Yeah, well, it's not that bad, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but Pam was pretty organized. I was impressed with the way she broke that house down, because that was a lot of stuff, man, to move.
Yes, she is the organized one, Paul. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. Well, you guys have a good first day of the year, and I'll try to do the same.
Well, I'm immensely proud that I was able to make it through the entire show today. I can't begin to tell you what an accomplishment that is.
You're talking about your internet connection, correct?
Yeah, my whole body connection.
Oh, I got you. Well, goodbye 2020 and good damn riddance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And by the way, thank Pam for my little Christmas gift there. I appreciate that. I've been munching on it ever since I got it.
We'll do that. Rains, what's going on out there?
Just more staying home, taking care of mom and dad. They both came down with COVID, which I don't know how that they could have tested positive. They've done nothing but stay at home and take a vacation to Lukenbach and hit every honky tonk in town over the weekend. So I don't know where they picked it up.
Jeez.
Well, I hope they all pull through.
Me too.